All right, everybody, hello and welcome once again to the lovely Rochester, New York, the LDOS Nerf War channel, although slightly less Nerf War than we're used to, but that's okay. We're still doing our thing. We're pivoting. We're pivoting. We're doing what we can. We're doing awesome, cool stuff. We're getting an opportunity to talk about things that we haven't really had an opportunity to talk about. A lot of cool stuff been coming through the channel recently. We've talked about how live streaming works, how to set up your own live stream, how to go about recording video, how videos get recorded. That was a fun stream as well. A lot of cool things that have been coming through. Real quick, we've got a really fun one that's happening today. But feel free to participate as much as you want in chat. We're monitoring it. Feel free to ask questions. We'll get to you as best we can. If we miss you, we apologize and we're sorry. I also want to say that I was hoping this whole concept that I had for the stream today was that we were going to have a cool, wonderful, mega discussion with 3 different business owners, myself, Connor from the Detroit Dart Club, as well, and Justin from the Rochester Foam Dart League. Justin, unfortunately, had to cancel. He had something come up last minute, so hopefully we'll try to get him on sometime soon. And oh my God, okay, Ian, you're killing me, buddy. Ian, you're gonna keep this stream alive, buddy. You're keeping the channel alive. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. However, getting right into this, I want to bring you in. If you have not met the man himself, we are bringing in Connor McGaffey from the Detroit Dart Club. Welcome, Connor. How are you doing?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me. Seriously, this was fun.
And then just because it's been an issue in the past, if some of you people in chat, if you could help me understand audio levels. I did a test earlier, but as we know, audio tests sometimes fail. They sometimes totally screw up. So please let me know. Tell me how it's going. And then just real quick, Ian's saying, take all my money. The gym looks different, missing the bars. Yes, we did. We spent some time deconstructing the whole gym, and we're gonna build it up bigger and better than before. So with that said, Connor, how you doing, man? How's life?
Life's different. Life's good. Going from working a lot of hours and running a lot of parties to suddenly not trying to adjust to that new lifestyle of just not being on all the time. But staying busy. Most people don't know I moved into the Dart Club on Thanksgiving, so I've kind of been adjusted to this lifestyle a little bit, but it's just weird.
Gotcha. All right, one second. Here in the feedback loop.
Yeah, sounds like echoes.
How's that? We doing good? It was okay. Haha, there we go. Figured it out.
I
Cool.
don't hear you at all.
Oh, you don't hear me at all? No, this is bad. Hold on. Hey, how we doing?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna. So basically, this works without OBS doing its thing, and yeah, we're gonna do our best here. Let's see. Why am I still hearing myself through my phone? Wouldn't be a true LDOS stream without some terrible things going on. What's up with you? Go away. How is this possible? How's that? Okay. Can you hear me? Oh no. I think Connor can't hear me now.
I'm sorry, I can hear you.
Oh, cool. Okay. I was like, oh shoot.
I thought you were talking to the chat.
Gotcha. No. All right, cool. We're all set. Figured it out. Wouldn't be an LDOS stream without something going wrong. So, real quick, let's get back into it. So Connor, yeah, how are you holding up through this whole shindig?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Stressful at the start. I don't know. Actually, it was calm at the start. Then it got crazy with all like the loan applications and stuff. And then once those were all in, I'm kind of just chilling right now. But yeah, it's different. really different going from being really busy to suddenly not. It kind of reminds me when I used to be at my old location when the building suddenly had to get shut down and I had to kind of stop everything and move out. That feels something like that, except the whole world is in the same boat.
Yeah.
But just weird.
So
I'm used to working a lot.
I find it interesting. We've pivoted. We've switched our platform to an online platform just because we've got the gym, right? The gym is what makes the money. That's what keeps the lights on, and a gym functions on membership. So at least we had that going for us going into this. And many of our members, as amazing as they are, have continued their memberships, or they're crazy people like Ian that have been helping us out, donating to the channel every week and keeping the lights on, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, that was what we had going on. But it's just so interesting to me that it's like, it doesn't necessarily feel, it's like it's times of intense rest of just going like, man, I literally am not able to do anything. I can't go out. I can't just go do needless projects for the business, but at the same time I am just racked trying to figure out how we're gonna survive.
Dude. Yeah, so I had like 63 groups booked during that the whole time.
No.
Yeah, so and I had they're all deposits too. I had to return everybody's deposit except for a couple people, so that's like really what almost like killed me, but survived. And those bones came in just in time. But it's gonna be weird once it's all over. You know, what like I have a feeling it's gonna be slow for a while, but people say, I think they're just saying it to make me not feel bad, but they're like, oh, people will want to like get out. I'm like, I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, it's such an interesting position to be in, because like part of me, nobody really, like, this has never happened, so nobody knows
Right.
what's going to happen, and everybody's just speculating, and it's really hard to make decisions that affect like how you pay your bills, right? And like you've got the direct control over it, and so it's like, I don't know what the correct decision is here, and I've nothing ever, and I say this every single time. It's so interesting to me, and like I'm sure that we'll get into this along down in the conversation, but I had this idea when we started the gym that there would be challenges, and then we would overcome those challenges. And because I'm a parkour person, like there's a movement challenge, and I overcome that movement challenge, and it's amazing to me that like movement challenges just like they get easier, and then it's like the goalposts move and it becomes easier, you know, whatever, and then you find the next challenge. And with owning a business, like challenges don't go away. Like you overcome the challenge, but then even though you can plan and plan and plan, that same challenge just somehow like evolves and mutates and becomes this crazy new thing. It's like, how could we have ever planned for this? It's insane.
Seriously, like when I always thought like it down a little bit, or or even a lot, and I thought people still need to go out and do fun things, and I was like, I think we'll be fine, but we'll adjust, and like we've adjusted with any other challenge. But this, I'm like, I did not see that coming. But once like word was coming out, and then I got one customer asking like, what's our cleaning procedure? I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be a thing. And then that next day, the NBA canceled, and I was like, that's it. I was like, that's it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it kind of hit us like a truck as well. Everything just steamrolled in, and it just dumped on us, and then going, oh shoot. And I mean, so part of me really, like, my heart goes out to you in a way, because what you're saying, your entire business model is like deposit based. It's people coming in for a single use visit, and not necessarily like our model is memberships. We have people that consistently pay a monthly fee that help us plan out. That doesn't necessarily easily work for a business like yours, and it's just one of the differences between how you do stuff and how we do stuff. And in this one particular instance, it's like, what do you do to try to convince those people to keep supporting you?
Right. So the fortunate things, and again, this is all kind of based on like we'll see what happens, but being in business 6 years and building a good relationship with
Oh my God, it's been 6 years?
people. Yeah, August will be 6 years. Yeah, crazy. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. Congratulations.
It really has. And I don't know. It's weird being here every day for it. But yeah, so I mean, like I have a good relationship with like a lot of the customer stuff. I think it showed some good faith, just like returning deposits too. People were like super nice about everything, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. I think it's definitely be a slow start. Hopefully August, that's when things get really busy for us. But it's going to be a grind of a year for sure. I'll just have to really instill confidence in my customers. So I'll have to work on like some kind of like a video, obviously, and just kind of like address everyone and market it throughout all the social medias and stuff like that, and put it on the website. Talk about our new cleaning procedures and just new procedures in general, and see what happens. I mean, we've had, every customer most customers we had been like, oh, we'll just wait and see what happens. It was a canceling, but then we had to cancel because the time has come to have the party and we can't have them there. So
yeah.
So we still have groups booked in. Looking up, we have like 8 groups in June right now, but I'm curious because I know a lot of them are like, I don't know if there's gonna be camps this summer, so I've off to they'll be canceling those. But.
Yeah, so for us right now, any given year in the past at this time, this is like prime time summer camp revenue season.
Yeah.
And
that's basically the only way I make money in the summer camps.
It's how most people make money in the summer.
Yeah, right.
For service businesses, especially ones that have any sort of sway with kids and kids that are on summer break and parents still go do their thing. Like they got to have something to do, and I think that businesses like ours are great constructive ways that kids can get out, they get active, and they're not just sitting around and doing nothing. Like they're doing fun stuff and they're having a good time. They're building relationships and everything else. And yeah, I've got no idea if that's. I think we've actually not really been allowing people to sign up for summer camps just because.
Yeah.
We got no idea what's gonna happen. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'd be surprised. Like I have those 8 groups in June. I'd be surprised if they didn't just. I'd be surprised if I have a party. But
yeah, man.
We'll see. No one wants to be the first like party back into the.
Oh, I know. And that's the whole. That's that is the issue of what is the stigma going to be, and how can we avoid that to the best of our ability?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And another thing too is like just like announcing like, hey, we're accepting parties for this time. Like, is there gonna be backlash or something? Like I don't know. I just don't know.
Yeah.
But
got a question from HearYou02. Aldas, do you think that it would be viable to convince a business like an indoor skate park to host Nerf nights with myself as the organizer, providing the supplies? What I will say to that, and this is something that I eventually want to pivot this and get into the discussion of business and operation and everything else. From my understanding and my experience, if somebody like you were to come through and say, hey, I want to host a Nerf war at your facility because you don't host them or anything else. First of all, yes, you should always ask. If you don't ask, you're not going to know. And you don't have the opportunity. The worst they can say is no. The second thing that I want you to think about is that for an indoor location that is a business, liability is the biggest concern. You cannot be the organizer and be covered under that venue's insurance because you're not an employee. So how can you run an event or anything else? You would need to bring in, you would basically be contracting in the way that you're describing. You would need to go forth with them, contract their space, book it out as you, and then you would have all of the risk of figuring out how to market it, how to get people in, how to handle payments on your end, not through their end, and then you'd probably have to bring your own insurance. Otherwise, if you wanted to go through that, you could say, hey, would you be interested in organizing these and running them, I can help you. Or if you want to like work out a deal where you become an employee specifically just to run those events so that you can be covered under the insurance, that's something that could possibly work. Those are the opportunities. With that said, let's get into the true business talk, the meat and potatoes of this. Connor, you said that you are about to cross the 6-year mark. So what was it that, man, I don't even know any Nerf arenas that were around 6 years ago. That's insane.
I think there was that one in California, Denver.
I remember there was one in Denver. I don't know if that was. Oh, I can't. I mean, granted, I like started Nerf 6 years ago, so yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, at the time, like when I did the research, if there were arenas, I was just doing this like in my house, like with buddies, and thought it was a good idea. I also had some money saved up from just like working like 80 hours a week for like 5 years, just like no life to and no way to spend that money because I was just working all the time. But yeah, when I came up with the idea, the first thing I did was obviously just research like, are there Nerf arenas? And I couldn't really find any. And when I did come across the one in, I want to say it was Denver or something. I didn't want to like look too much into them because I didn't want to have like a similar version of them. I kind of want to just like do my own thing and just evolve it from there. But yeah, then I just kind of researched if like in Detroit, especially at the time, they were just like starting to make their comeback as far as like being a city with businesses and activity and stuff. At the time, there is pretty much a ghost town, and also stuff was really cheap for like rentals and stuff. But it also had that kind of like a cool vibe going for it. So it just like a really good opportunity to be like near a city like that. But it was about a year of just planning and researching and just like looking for locations and how would I do it, where would I do it, could I afford to do it. Would it be something where I go to a location and do pop-ups, or would it be its own physical space? And then someone finally referred me to the Russell Industrial Center, which is not far from this building at all. But it's a unique place that had just like 2 square feet. There was over 200 artists that were in the building, so it had like some kind of a little community vibe going on. But the rent was so cheap there, and it was month-to-month rent, so there wasn't really that big of an investment or risk at the start. I figured, well, if this doesn't work out, it's just working. There wasn't, I didn't have to sign a lease that had me on the hook for like years. And I was also at the time where I was just like miserable working all those hours at those customer service type jobs where I was like, I can't do this anymore. So once I did the business, it actually picked up pretty quickly, actually. So the building had an open house, and then a couple people kind of booked a party after that. One of them was Quicken Loans, which is the big business in Detroit. And after they booked a party, it was good timing with end-of-year parties, and we just kind of like went crazy after that. And then we got slow in the summer, and then winter hit, and then it got busy again, and that's when it became my real full-time job in 2016.
Gotcha. So, would you consider yourself a Nerfer before starting the Nerf Arena?
In my own world, I was not exposed to like the Nerf at the time. Like I didn't know how it was, and by nerfing, like I would just host like small battles in my house, and we would just do that on a weekly basis kind of thing where we made up our own gameplays and just kind of beat the crap out of each other with Nerf guns. But as I opened up my business and was introduced to a few people in the community, my old location, I wasn't too exposed to them because my location is a really small space for the blasters that they use. But Tim from Detroit Dart Talk, that's who I knew in the community early on, and he kind of introduced me to the community after that. But as far as like being involved with the community, I would probably not. No, I just really enjoyed it, honestly, and I thought there would be a market for people my age actually to be doing Nerf wars in Detroit, just because it just seemed like that'd be a fun thing to do in a sketchy warehouse in Detroit, do some Nerf stuff.
That's cool.
And I was really banking on just corporate outings and stuff. I really didn't think that moms were going to bring these kids to this warehouse for birthday parties, because it was a sketchy warehouse and it reeked of weed, and it was its own kind of weird building. But that became half my business, was kids' birthday parties on the weekends. So it kind of worked out.
Gotcha. We've got Percussion for Life saying there's been a Nerf Arena in Long Island, New York since 2015. I'd be interested in knowing what the name is. That's cool. Are they still around?
2015, is that New York Dart Zone?
I don't know.
Yeah, it probably is. They opened up not long after I opened up.
Gotcha. Do you know if they're still around?
They are.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. Yeah, that's I mean, sort of. So I'm just curious, what did you do before the Nerf Arena? Like, what was your job before the Nerf Arena? What helped you get the money to fund it? And is it that you thought like you weren't being fulfilled in that job, and that's what brought you to have this idea, or you've always wanted to be an entrepreneur and like start your own thing?
Good question. So, as far as like wanting to be an entrepreneur, my family, like my dad and his dad, not something I like thought I'd be doing. I have a degree in kinesiology, so I was on the path to doing like
no way.
Therapy. Yeah. And then I worked at Henry Ford Hospital in the physical therapy departments there, not as a physical therapist, but as like a tech assistant kind of thing. And then I was working there kind of full time, not really. And at the same time, I was working actual retail at a place called the Detroit Shop, where basically it's just Detroit apparel and stuff like that. So I was working around 30-ish hours at each job at the time, and then some other odd jobs around that. But yeah, basically I was way burnt out, and I was not enjoying life at all at the time. There's only so many holiday seasons you can work in retail to like burn out, and I mean honestly, like I was no fun to be around. I had a very I was a pretty negative person at that time, but these Nerf wars I was doing in my house, I was like, this is a lot of fun. I am not thinking about my jobs or anything like that. It was just a good, fun outlet. And the big draw with the Nerf was, they're not expensive or anything like that as far as like build out costs. And just basically, I just want to see if I could find a place I could afford, and it just kind of worked out from there. But as far as business, yeah, I did not predict I'd be business. And once I started, I just became like kind of like hooked on it, and learned about the whole like small business community, like just meeting other entrepreneurs and just feed off their energy, and it's kind of fun.
Definitely. So in the process of knowing that this is what you wanted to do, is the model that you currently have what you envisioned would be what the idea the Nerf Arena was, or has it changed?
Kinda. It's definitely evolved, but as far as like keeping it like simple and keeping gameplay simple and just keeping things moving, like that was the idea. As far as like the concept, like how long a party should last, how long a game should last, that all definitely evolved over time. How many people can you have in a party? How big should an arena be? It like all that kind of stuff. But I would have been, if you would have told me in 2014 or whenever I decided to do it, if you would have shown me the space I'm in right now, I would have been like, whoa, I don't. And some of the events we have, like our weekends are like not, when we're busy, do 12 parties in a weekend or like 8 in a day. And it'll start from, that's like a 13-hour day too. And when the day's over, and if I run, now I have staff that help me out run like 4 parties in a day, sometimes 5. And once, 11 p.m. hit, they're just like, dang, I had a banana today. I can't even believe it. I was like, what happened today? I don't even remember the first 2 groups. But it's like so satisfying. Like, I don't know. It feels good to put in like a long day like that and just, I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, man.
And when I do it and like hours I put in, and just think I'm like, I don't know many people who can do this. Like, I don't know. You have to be a different person to do that kind of stuff.
It is. It's so different. When we started the gym, I was working as a personal trainer and making good money as a personal trainer, and my wife was still finishing out her last year at college, and so I was like, we had the money there coming in from the personal training. We had just a little dinky apartment. We've always been pretty frugal, so we don't have a ton of expenses. Our lifestyle's not expensive. And nice. I remember thinking, like, I've got a little bit of money. I think we had like a couple $1,000s saved up. I was like, that's a decent amount of money. That's pretty cool. I should be able to start a parkour gym with that. And it was just kind of like almost I always say to people, I am not the model to go with when you consider starting a business, because so much of us being here right now is just that first naive moment in our life of being like, yeah, this could totally work, and then just like diving in and doing it, and just kind of tumbling and falling down the hill and going, oh God, there's a tree in the way, and they have to like figure out, okay, what's the next problem? Oh my God, we got to figure this, and then oh my God, we have to figure this, and then suddenly we're here, and hopefully when we get through this whole shindig that we're in right now, we'll cross our 10-year mark in February next year, and it just like. But that one moment of just being like, yeah, this is a cool life to live. I'm gonna work 9 to 5 as a personal trainer, and then when I'm done, I'm just gonna like eat an apple, and then I'm gonna go open the gym from 5:30 until 10 p.m. and then I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna eat a little food, and I'm gonna sleep and wake up and do it again. What could go wrong?
And no stress at all.
So I'm actually, I handle stress really well emotionally. About a year and a half later, I started getting some like this rash all over my body, and we were like, what the hell's going on, blah, blah, blah. And it started to get so bad, and so we finally went to see a doctor, and they were like, I thought I was breaking out with a rash or I was having an allergic reaction or something else. They go, no, you got stress hives. And go, what do you mean? Like, I don't feel stressed. He goes, oh, that doesn't matter. Like, just stress is stress, and so your body will present it in different ways, but there's really nothing that I can prescribe to help this. You need to figure out how to handle the stress. And I told him what I did, like, oh yeah, I work 9 to 5, and then I go run a business that makes barely any money from 5 to 10. It's like, you should quit one of those things. And yeah. And I mean, it was a very big moment of like, I hadn't pulled any money. I had never used money from the gym a year and a half later to like pay for my personal finances. And so it was a pretty difficult discussion with my wife of going like, what do we do here? And to make the decision of just like, we're young, let's do it. Let's go all in. And I think we determined that we had 3 months. We had 3 months to like float the gym with it making barely any money, for it to kind of be like a make it or break it moment. And God, I can't tell you that like that 3rd month hit, and just like people came, and it was like magical. Wow. And like there is no rhyme or reason to it. It's one of those like pure luck things. And luck has a lot to do with being a business owner. You can't plan for it. It's something that you just have to embrace when it comes, and we got lucky, and here we are. So, yeah.
Did you feel like it was an out-of-body experience for the first like year, or at any point?
I felt like, I think my life back then, I was so naive, just kind of feeling like I've got everything figured out. I know where things are going. I know what's happening. And then just I made a mental mature move. I think 3 years ago is when it really hit me. 3 years ago, it was after like one really tough summer camp season, and it was like, there will never be a time in my life where life is just easy. And I don't believe that anybody's life is easy. Like, people experience life so differently than other people. Obviously, people come from backgrounds of like extreme opportunity or very little to no opportunity, and that changes their experience. But to say that somebody with a massive amount of opportunity has an easy life, I don't think I agree with that. I think that everybody figures out some way of stressing out about stuff, of feeling that life is challenging, that life is hard, and that they're barely getting by. And when I embraced that mentality, it just was like, this is great. This is my life. It's just a life of challenge, and we do what we can with it. And that was everything for me.
That's awesome. Your wife, was she your wife at the time?
That's an interesting story. We've been together longer than the gym. So we've been together. It'll be a decade in June, and we did not get married until 2017. And the only reason why that worked for us was because personally, I had no assets, and so it made the gym, like everything with the gym, so dead simple. Like tax-wise, liability-wise, everything with the business was in my name. That made it easy to run. We didn't have to. We made the corporate switch last year, but we were operating as a DBA for so long. And even though everybody says like, LLC is like, we talked with a lawyer. It doesn't make any sense because we pay so much money for insurance. And we have really good insurance. So it didn't make sense for us to just like incorporate for no real reason. I had no physical assets. All of our assets were in Nicole's name. It worked out really well. And so when we bought our house, with my wife's like job, and I wasn't included because I was stupid. I was stupid as a business owner, just thinking like the life of a business owner, I just have to deduct everything. And if I deduct everything, I don't pay taxes. That's incredible. And then we went to our first mortgage meeting, and the mortgage broker was like, "Oh, you own a business?
He's like, this would be fun."
Right. And so I showed him the profit and loss. He's like, I need to see your tax documents. And he showed him. He's like, "I can't put you on this. You make no money." It's like, "Well, no, I do make money. It's just on taxes I don't." It's like, "Yeah, but that's what I need. I need these numbers in order to put you into the algorithm. We're just not going to include you. We're just going to see what kind of a house your wife can afford with her job." She was working at a landscape company at the time. And like, that's how we bought the house. And like, it's a tiny house. It's not like, it's a nice little, it's humble, and it works for us right now. And it's just, it worked out. It worked out. I had no assets. If somebody were to try to sue the gym, it would be like, what are you gonna take? I don't know. So yeah, it worked out. It was good. And yeah, everything's switched now. We got married in 2017, but I mean, we've owned the house for, I can't tell you how long. It's felt like we've been married for the entire time that we've been together. So yeah. And now she works.
Awesome.
She went full time right after we bought the house. We used her job to buy the house with her W-2, and then she switched, and we hired her on here full time as like, I was the business owner as a DBA, and now she's like incorporated. She's listed as one of the owners here. But yeah, that she was an employee. She worked full time. She's the only full time staff that we had for a while. But yeah. Speaking of staffing, do you have anybody that does your birthday parties for you, or are you a solo, or do you run everything yourself?
No, I have, so like it kind of, I have staff, basically just Saturdays and Sundays. But staffing is tricky. People's availability, I find I still end up running a lot of parties on the weekends. But I don't know. I'm either overstaffed or understaffed for like properly staffed. But yeah, I got Dakota. He's like kind of like he's our manager. And so he helps me out with just like answering emails and stuff like that. And,
cool.
Just kind of figure out. He also does the scheduling and stuff. But yeah, just a small staff.
We got a question in from Newt. I run a small Nerf club / arena as well, and I just wondered, how did you do the first time with an entry fee. I want to be able to provide enough rental blasters and ammunition, but I feel like people will take it negatively if I start taking entry fees. What do you feel about that, Connor?
So there's an entry fee, and then you rent the blasters. Is that what he's saying?
I'm thinking that he wants to be able to provide enough. He wants to be able to have the whole shindig. He wants to be able to let people rent blasters if they so choose. He also wants to have a space, and obviously that comes with costs, and so he would need to charge people. But people making that jump from the free experience to the paid experience.
Oh, they'll have to deal with it. I'm sorry. Things aren't free. You're putting the time in to do all this cover charge. If people can't handle it, they gotta know that you put the time and effort into it. And I don't know, if you're providing the space.
My take on that is, if what you're doing is providing value, you need to make that value, and value doesn't come from nothing. Value is created, and so if you are creating value by having four walls, that is something that deserves to be valued, and so that's where the cover charge comes into play. This was for my experience in my other life with parkour. Parkour got started all about free. It's just like free expression, man, free running, and we go jam outside, and like nobody should pay anybody for education, and like everybody should just give everything away for free. And it's like, but when you do that, nothing is actually being done. And so for the longest time, people would have we would have like national gatherings where people from all around the country would get together, and we would go like jump around in a park. And when you're a young kid, like that's cool. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna travel across the country. I'm gonna go to Seattle and like jump on the cool structures that they have there. But then it's like, I spent all this money to travel, and then because nobody's being organized or responsible, so nobody's getting insurance, nobody's getting permits, nobody's doing that stuff that creates value. It's like, no wonder that you got a group, like got 80 people that are jumping around stuff, and then sure enough, the cops come by. It's like, go, get out of here. What are you doing? We can't have you congregating the space. And it's like, well, man, I flew all across the country to get here. It's like, I don't care. They don't care. So yeah, but you charge. You say, hey, you can invest that money to fly out because I'm going to get a permit for the space. That costs money. I'm going to get insurance for the space. That's how I'm going to get the permit. That costs money. That's not free. And maybe we're going to provide like a meal or something else like that. And everybody helps chip in a small little amount to make this cool, fun experience. If that's what you're doing, charge for it. And it's amazing how people understand that. They see what you're trying to do. You create value. They should feel good about helping support that. And if they don't, then they don't deserve your business. So, or you don't deserve their business. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't feel bad about it. Just charge it and make it reasonable. I always try, obviously, like, we charge stuff like that, but I always have the mentality of like, I want to give them more value than what they paid for, and they feel like they got their money's worth for sure. But yeah.
Something that I always find interesting when talking with other business owners. Has there ever been a moment where you thought for sure you had an idea in the creation or the operation of your business, and you said, this is such a good idea, this is totally going to work, and then you do it and you try it and it totally doesn't work, and you have to like scramble and figure out like, well, that's not going to function. What do I need to do? I need to pivot this somehow. Is there anything that has happened to you with the Nerf Arena, the Detroit Dart Club?
Let's see. So, I would say open play. That was actually, yeah, I've made a lot of mistakes. Open play, I like the idea of it. In actuality, it would either be like so busy that it was like out of control, or like we'd go a whole day where no one would show up. and you'd get people kind of taking advantage and just like they would throw a party in open play, and we don't charge for those not participating, and then people would bring a lot of people. And in the end, I just wasn't making money off. So we got rid of that. That was a mistake. Also, just in general, just kind of expanding a little too quick. So the building I'm in right now, moved here. We moved into the smaller half of the building. This is the only thing that was available, which was not small. It was 5,000, a little over 5,000 square feet. And then a year after that, or maybe it was 2 years after that, we took over the other half of the building, which was an additional 12,000 square feet.
Wow.
And yeah, and that's the side I'm currently on. But I learned that the following summer with both halves that, dang, I can't expect to be like pumping all 4 arenas going all year round. So it was about a year and a half of just like really grinding it out. I couldn't really afford like that much staff. So I was running like the most parties I've ever run in like a year and a half. That was definitely a mistake to do that. But fortunately, timing, I've been lucky with timing a little bit with everything. So I was able to, I had like the only way I could get out of that lease was to have someone take it over. So we, just in the nick of time, we were able to have someone take over that lease, like right before things like hit the fan. So I was able to eliminate that expense. If I still had that on the books, like it'd probably be the end of the Dart Club. With it would have been really bad. But yeah, I mean, I made a lot of mistakes, and I definitely paid for a lot of them. Think about if I didn't have that other half, how much money I'd have saved up. But
yeah. So,
but yeah.
With open play, was the idea that you would have times where like games are constantly running, and then people can just like show up and jump into a game that's like the next game that's going on, and they're paying
Basically,
per game?
They pay for that was the other thing. I was like, at one point we didn't have like a limit like how long you could be there, and people just drop their kids off. And like, no. It was like there was just a lot of just like people taking advantage, and I just didn't like it. But yeah, it was, you pay for an hour or an hour, and we eventually were like, all right, let's keep it to an hour, because that last half hour people are really tired. An hour is a long time, like Nerf Wars straight up. And then you get some fresh bodies jumping into a game where some people are like super tired, or you get like different age groups that just didn't mix well together. And it was just more the anxiety and stress of not knowing who's, and I know my staff really didn't enjoy running the open play.
Yeah.
So once we got rid of it, it like felt really good. I was like, oh, we now just do private parties. We know who's coming, how many people are coming, the age group, and we're making more money off it, and we get a little bit of a breather in between parties and stuff. So it was just easier to control.
Does that make you sad?
That I was wrong?
No. Does it make you sad that the idea of open play was an idea that you had, and then you had to pivot, and like parties make the money? Like when we do a party here, like it's a considerable boost to our monthly revenue, but
yeah,
I would not consider, for me personally, running a party is not always like nourishing to my satisfaction of life. Like I feel good running them. I will always, like even to this day, we don't run parties that much anymore. We try to do that because it's a significant increase to our employees' weekly wages, and so we always try to give those to our employees when possible, because they make a buttload of money when we do parties, and that's great for them. It pads their paycheck. It helps give them that extra little bit, and so that we don't try, like my wife and I don't try to take them. But every so often, an employee can't get scheduled, and so to this day, like I will always be fine, just like dropping it. It's like, okay, fine, let's do it. We'll run this party. We'll make it happen. And sometimes I'll even be in this mindset of just like, I don't want to run this party, but then you're doing it. It's like, yeah, this is cool. Like there's a reason why we do this, and it's so fun, and I enjoy it. But then afterward, it's just like, I don't know. It's just not the same. Like it's not the same as what movement education is to me. I think of myself as an instructor and not just somebody that is I don't know, like a drug dealer of endorphins, just dishing out fun. Right. And
endorphins, I like that.
Yeah, and so it just doesn't nourish me. So do you feel sad that you can't do, or like open play didn't work? Or do you think that there's a way that you can get back to doing that with now the new information of what you've learned?
You see, I don't feel sad that it didn't work. If anything, I learned that I just didn't, and I really don't want to bring it back. But okay. I might have to. But I might have to when this is all over. That might be you have to do like one arena for private parties, one for open play, just to get people back in the door or something. So I don't know. It might be back. It might not. Not sure.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm not too sad about it.
When we originally started, our original model for the gym was basically emulating a climbing gym. We were like, yeah, we're gonna build the space, we're gonna have the environment and the establishment, and then people will pay a drop-in price to go like play around in the arena, or not the arena. Well, okay, this is a Nerf channel, but again, it's the parkour in our sense. Just to help people explain, Nerf doesn't make that much money for us as a business. We make 90% of our money from parkour experiences and doing classes and running like parkour events and summer camps and everything else. Nerf is a fun thing that we supplement it with, and that's cool and all, but parkour is what we keep the lights on with. Our original idea for the gym was that we were going to be like a climbing gym. People were going to come in and they were going to mostly open play, and that was not at all what people wanted, and nobody showed up, nobody came, and it's like, okay, great. How are we going to make money when we don't do this? And that's where we started doing classes, and to this day, like, I think of it as a shame of the experience to me of what parkour training is doing it yourself and being in a space and learning how to be your own challenger, how to see your own challenges, how to adapt and struggle through it, and then eventually overcome and whatever. And it's just so amazing to me that so many of our students don't take advantage of it. And it's like, you can learn so much, you progress so fast when you do that, but they like the experience of being led and being shown and catered to. And it's like, I can't fault them for that, but yeah, it is what it is. So you pivot and you do what you need to do. I wish that open gym were more utilized. I wish that there were more free flow exchanges of information and seeing a student try something and then go like, I like what you're going with that. Maybe if you do it this new way, or if you think of it like this, and then, or you progress it in something else, like that makes me feel good and it helps get them to critically think about stuff. But I can't force them to love it. So yeah. So yeah. There's some interesting conversation going on in the chat about Ragnaroktoberfest and EndWar charging. So correct me if I'm wrong.
Have you ever been to EndWar?
Dude, this year was going to be my first year.
Was it? Ah, jeez.
It's every single so every other time that it was hosted, it's like right on my wife's birthday, and like she's awesome and she like she wants to go do stuff like that, but it's her birthday. I don't want to be like, yeah, let's go on a road trip to do Nerf, and ultimately if I'm there, like I'm gonna film and it's gonna be kind of like my Aldos persona, and so it won't be the same. And so this year was gonna be the first year that we were gonna go, and then sure enough, so yeah, that's unfortunate. But EndWar
yeah,
doesn't charge though, right? They charge for FoamCon.
Do they charge for PhoneCon?
I don't.
They do. Or do they? I don't remember.
Somebody help me out in chat.
Yeah. I know EndWar is free. Shocking to me that's free. I even if they like charge like $10 a person, not a big deal for us, I don't think. And just think about that can be paid towards the people that help, pay the volunteers. I don't know.
So interesting.
It's amazing that they do it for free.
Well, from what I remember of the history of EndWar, EndWar was a different event that was organized by a different set of organizers, and then they what was it? Nation versus Zombies, that was it. And because it was because they changed the name of it so it wasn't HVZ, they got around the sort of like I don't it's not like a license, it's just how you market the event. Something about that is no longer Creative Commons or something like that, whatever. Regardless, no HVZ event that's being run under or operating under HVZ principles and rules can be charged. Like, I don't think anybody can make a profit off it. That's the idea, I think.
Okay.
And so that's why when they were saying that they were going to charge for it, people got all up in arms about it, and then like everything kind of went all hoopla, and the internet did its thing of going rabble, and that's when Drac took it over and ran it. How honestly, like if those are the rules of HVZ, then like yeah, you can't charge for it. Just know that when you have an event that isn't like you're not paying a ticket price, somebody's footing the bill for it. And if they're not footing the bill for it, then be ready to get kicked out or have your event not run, because all it takes is one community member, one tax-paying citizen to go, I feel uncomfortable with these people running around with toy blasters, I feel intimidated, and then they're going to shut you down. So yeah, that is what it is. I think that whether or not somebody charges, it's not a personal thing. You have to figure out what is the value of this event. Does the price that they're charging constitute the price that they're charging? What am I getting out of it? If it's something where like this is a sure thing, this event is going to run, it's going to be fun. I'm really excited for it, and I feel fine investing my travel dollars and my travel time to go to it so that I actually gain the experience that I'm going there for, that's fine. If there's a different way, if you can be assured of that by the organizers with it not being a paid for event, then that's cool too. And Drac has done an amazing job with that. So it just is what it is. You've got different strategies, and you just try to, you have the strategy for the risk that you are willing to accept. That's what that is. So yeah, going through chat real quick, because I saw a couple other things that I wanted to go over. Ben Anderson says, welcome to stream, by the way. They also charge teams competing in the Foam Pro Tour.
They do, okay. You know how much?
I don't know. But that is interesting. That's a clever way of doing this by adding in that separate event that can be a paid for event or can drive revenue in some way to help supplement this free to play version. Like, that's great. That's clever. That is amazing. And that's kind of the joy and the wonderfulness of it. Scott JS is saying, as it sounded, NVZ went on for a second year, but they changed locations due to some kind of dispute, while EndWar went down at the original location for NVZ, then NVZ died. Yeah, it's kind of a shame. It would be nice if both of those organizations stuck around, but I mean, you scorn people, and it's going to be hard to get those emotions back. So it is what it is. DZP Dave. You're on the thumbnail, Dave. You're the thumbnail. Look at you. You're amazing. I miss you. I can't wait to get shot in the face again by your Dart Zone Pro. Oh man. Yeah, cool. So trying to move things along. We sort of covered this, but I just want to be a little bit more direct with it. What is your why as to why you keep doing this? Like running a small business the way that we run small businesses, it is a lifestyle, and it takes a certain kind of person to be willing to accept that. So what is your why as to why you keep doing what you do?
Honestly, I get a rush out of putting on these events that are really pretty unique experiences, especially being in like this historical Detroit warehouse and stuff, and just trying new things. I love just like unique experiences, and I like to, and when I have a party, 99% of the parties are like, they go really well. It's just like a fun really get to bond with people, and people are so nice compared to like the other places I worked at where customers not so nice. But I don't know, I just like seeing it grow and trying new things. Like we started doing dodgeball like a year and a half ago, and we started doing virtual reality parties, and those were starting to pick up until the things hit the fan. But I just like to try new things and just kind of go a little outside the comfort zone and see how it goes. And with just the experience of let's start it off slow. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna learn as I go. I have the idea. It's gonna change, but I just like to grow and build like a community. And just, I don't know, some of the nights we have here with like big parties, and I'm just like running like a 100-person party with a megaphone. It's like you get a rush out of it, and you leave there and I'm like, I just met like 100 people just now, and it just like I don't know, I like it. Just enjoy.
That's fine. You can,
but also,
you can just
also,
enjoy
like,
it.
There are times where I'm like, worked like 90 hours this week. The last year and a half when I had both arenas, I'm working so hard, and like I'm just like breaking even. Like I'm like, is this? What am I doing here? Then, yeah, but you gotta check yourself. Every once in a while, you go into those modes, get stressed, and you're like, gosh, especially during this whole thing, I was like, oh, well, quick. I'm like, okay, but I don't know. I like it.
So that kind of sends me into my next question. Would you do it again?
Yes, and I would do a little bit different.
How would you do it different?
I would have just taken over this half of the building. That would have been it. I would have done that. And I would have been able to afford employees. Like after that mistake of having both sides, I probably put myself back. The goal was to, like, by this point, to be like looking into a second location in a different city or something, just to add more stress to my plate. But
yeah, right.
Yeah, like, why am I doing that? Why am I thinking about doing that?
That's the entrepreneurial spirit. Like, you built it. Now let's watch it. Let's see it grow. And yeah, I mean, you can't turn that little piece of your brain off.
I just tell myself, ridiculous goal. I'm like, you're gonna have the option to retire at 40 years old. And then I was like, what do you do after that? I'm like, I have this terrible feeling I'm gonna do another thing that's just gonna like put in more hours and add stress. But I'm like, but that's just who I am. I'm like, I think I'll go on vacation for like a week and be like, all right, that's enough.
I feel like the aspect of small business ownership that we experience with having that mega new concept of having the space and like trying to create experiences and whatnot, and like our sort of, I don't know, our addition to the community is experience, and not necessarily by designing blasters or putting out products or anything else. Like, our contribution is the experience space. And so like something about that mentality of like, I build the space, like that's the product. It's not a blaster. The space is the product. And so it's really challenging when and I'm sure that some people that understand Nerf as a product design kind of experience, they spend all this time, they build a blaster and they have it all designed and whatnot, and they maybe a couple years down the road they have this idea like, oh, I should have done it this way, or I should have changed things around. And it like doesn't necessarily make sense to just totally overhaul the entire blaster for this one new change. Like, they'll just make a new one. They do it from the ground up and they just reformat the entire thing and they have a new product. For us, it's a lot harder to do, but you can't kind of turn that part off of like, I just kind of want to start over. And not like, I don't want to kill this. Like, this is amazing. I want this still, but I feel like I could do this better. And I really want the opportunity to do this better. It's just, instead of having this be a virtual product, this is a very expensive, real large product. And my take on that is if we were to do it again, I would do it again, but not at all the way that we did it. And I probably, like, we would need 100 times more money to start than what we did.
Are you asking like if I was gonna start the business today?
Yeah. Yeah. If you were like,
the answer is no. The answer is no. In this environment, at least.
Well, sure. I mean, in this environment, right? But I mean,
2020, like Connor, I don't know. It depends, like, what I'm walking away from too. So when I started the business, it was just me. I was like, who am I going to disappoint? Myself? Like, cool. And I was like, young too. I was like, worst case scenario, like, I'm still really young, and I'm still young. But right now, Detroit specifically, there's just a lot going on right now. Whereas when I started the business in 2014, there was nothing going on. I had no competition, and there was just no things to do except for going to like a baseball game or something, or a Red Wings game. So I felt like there was just like no competition at all. Now you got Detroit's just like blown up in the last couple of years. I wouldn't even know how to get my work get out there, really. Social media is great, but I mean, when I was back in the day, when I boosted or like made a promotion on Facebook in Detroit about just like something to do, it was immediate like hits and likes. I don't know how it'd be tricky to stand out without a reputation. I don't know. I don't think I would.
Do you have competition now?
No, not really. As far as activity places, it's still kind of Fulling Warehouse, but I guess not really. There's places that keep opening up that are not in Detroit, and I'm like, hey, you should be open in Detroit. Like a lot of like bounce places or axe throwing and stuff like that. Even places that put Detroit in front, like Detroit Axe. Like they opened up on my window. You'd be my comment. They're just not there. I don't know.
I feel
it depends. Like I guess it depends if I'm like hating life or something. Like my only option is to like, because that's what I was at the time. 2014, I was like, I hate everything. I'm like, I need to find something I enjoy doing. And if I don't, like, that was like my goal. I was like, I have to find something I enjoy doing. I don't care if it makes me like, I just want to have money to survive and enjoy what I'm doing. And that was good enough for me. So I don't know, at this point right now, I didn't start a business in 2014. I might have like a freaking family or something. I might be, I might not be willing to make that risk, or I might be happy where I'm at. I don't know.
It's true. It's such a different because I've lived this lifestyle for a decade, it is really challenging to put myself back in the shoes of like, what was it like just being able to go to work, do the work, like I know all of the expectations, I know exactly what's required of me, and then go home. And when I leave, like I don't have to think about it. And now it's like you can't. And even so, for us as well, because that extra level is that my wife is a co-owner in the business, and like it's both of our full-time jobs. We do this constantly, and it still boggles my mind when people learn, when we meet new people and they go like, oh, you know, what do you do? It's like, oh, we own a gym. Like, oh, cool. And then they just kind of go like, oh, you own it together. It's like, that's what you do full time. It's like, yeah, that's what we do full time. Like, you don't get sick of each other? It's like, what? I don't know. I married her. We kind of enjoy this, right? And then a lot of people started to like they'll do this input like, well, what do you talk about that isn't work? It's like, I mean, I don't know. Like this work is our life. That's our lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so we can't stop ourselves. We tried this. We went through phases where we're like, we're gonna go on a date and we're not going to talk about work. And it's like the weirdest thing to just kind of sit there and be like, yeah, the weather's nice.
My conversation the past 6 years has just been, if I meet someone new, I'm like, oh God, do, and then that's the conversation the whole night. But you do what? Nerf Wars? And then yeah, it's just all that takes over conversation. But fortunately, I have like a good group of like friends and like family who are also entrepreneurs. It's kind of fun to talk to them about business and stuff, but also we know when like, let's just have some whiskeys and like just chill. Like my one friend, he's got a drone business. They do drone shows. My brother-in-law.
That's cool.
And I probably spend the most time with him. It's just nice to just kind of like chill with him and like fly some RC planes and just not talk about business. But we do have to have those nights where I'm like, hey, like I got to bounce some ideas off you. We got to have like a scotch night or something and talk about business and stuff. But
yeah.
But when you talk to people who don't know the business or don't know anything in general about doing a business, and everyone just gives me their ideas, and I'm like, oh, it's a good idea. Thanks. I'm like, I know. Like, this is all that consumes my thoughts all day.
Yeah. or all night.
All night, yeah. Yeah, sleepless nights.
There's an interesting thought here, and I want to add a little anecdote. Luzin says, events are such difficult undertaking that most wouldn't be able to afford to pay the whole staff without hiking up the ticket prices to a point of restricting access to less well-off attendees. To an extent, yes, and I think that is when you give something a value, that is the challenge of, am I restricting a demographic of people that I don't want to restrict access to? And then that comes into the how clever are you mindset, and how willing are you to kind of risk playing and gambling with human nature? Because ultimately, when people are given the opportunity to, like, I don't need to pay more, well, a lot of people don't pay more, and then can you afford to run the event that you're trying to run? However, recently I've got my best friend who he's got a very interesting parkour business in New York City. And he operates in a completely different way than anybody else does. He specifically creates parkour programs for schools, and he markets himself to schools. And then schools contract him, and he creates experiences for them, and will do summer camps or just classes, or he'll take over their phys ed class or anything else like that. It works really well for him. He also has his own adult-oriented classes or just regular outdoor classes. He doesn't have a physical space, and that's That's weird too. And they do stuff year round. That's weird, right? They're outdoors in the snow in New York City in the wintertime in January, and they still do stuff, which is insane. But in my most recent conversation, he no longer runs his classes as a direct price ticket, which again, it's an interesting concept. It's something that he was willing to play around with, and it sounds like he's succeeding a little bit with it. He advertises a suggested price, and the suggested price is $20. However, if you are in need of assistance, there are 2 new versions of discount, or I think 3 versions of discount that you can apply for. You can apply for a $5 discount, you can apply for a $10 discount, or you can apply for a $20 discount, which effectively makes your visit free. And the idea there is that he sends out all the information, making sure that people know if you have the means by which to afford a full price ticket, please afford a full price ticket, because 1, you can. 2, it's supplementing the ability for a less well-off person to join, and that's something that is a core value of his business. They want to be accessible to all walks of life, and if you can afford it, it should be something that you want to do. And if you don't want to do it, then like they kind of don't want you there. You know, like you're not being a contributor to society in that aspect. You're just taking, right? The other thing, in order to manage the risk of that, he's created a system where there are only a certain number of those discounts available. And then, I mean, sure, you might get into the trap of like, if you know that somebody has like, if somebody makes $200,000 a year and they're choosing the free ticket, like, come on, you know, you might bring them aside and have the discussion of like, I might not let you continue because you're not being a contributor or something else like that. I don't know how he manages that. What I do know is that there are a set number of free tickets, there are a set number of $10 tickets, and ultimately he would still be able to break even if all of the discounts were taken. And that allows him the ability to operate the way that he does. And it's something that I thought was pretty clever. It works for him. Whether or not that is going to work for you, I don't know. That's something that you need to decide. I know that can't work here because we have like heat. Heat is expensive, and it's also really nice. Right? And heat's amazing, and lights are cool too when it's 9 p.m. and you're trying to keep people safe from running around a space, and payroll's expensive, and rent is expensive, so it's different. But these are the things like that you can take, and just because the business model doesn't exist for it, like make the business model and try to figure out a way that you can manage it without hopefully not losing everything. You know what I mean? So I found that interesting. I'm just gonna double check chat real quick before I dive into our next topic. Illusion says it's better to have sponsor tickets with a lot of tiers rather than discounts. You can offer a discount through volunteering. Sure, and again, that's one model that works. It's a model that a lot of people already do as well. It's not something that is, a little conceptual like my buddy Jesse. That was very conceptual, and I'm sure he's still figuring out the nuances of it and fine-tuning it to make it work in the best possible way. But it's all it is what you make of it. Make it what you want to see. So yeah. Nathan, for largely profitable events like conventions, ticket price is middle high, but the people who volunteered to assist with the event get in free, and this model has a lot of track record. Absolutely. Yeah, it does work. It's something that you can absolutely do. I would double check if you are running an actual business and not just hosting a single event. Make sure you know what you're doing labor-wise, and don't do illegal stuff, because that'll bite you in the ass so fast. Don't do it. Make sure you know what you're doing. Cool. Pretty caught up with chat. All right, so in the mindset of just like we don't need to provide a roadmap for anybody of like if somebody in chat is like, man, I feel pretty inspired to start my own Nerf business. Like, we don't need to provide a direct roadmap of like how exactly to do that, especially because like, this isn't a one solid set in stone business model. This conversation is a perfect example of that. We don't make most of our money from Nerf. It's just a supplement. We keep the lights on by being a parkour gym, and then we get to host these Nerf events during nights that parkour has never like taken track. Our Friday night Nerf streams are because our parkour classes never got rooted. They just, for whatever reason, people don't come to parkour classes and they don't do fitness stuff on Fridays. So instead of doing that, we hosted Nerf Wars, and it's been amazing, and that worked really well for us. That's how we're able to fund that. It's being essentially floated by all of the other stuff. That's how we can afford this giant arena without, I don't know, just like doing whatever. But and then we've got Connor here with a completely different business model, and he's managing it, making it work. What will work for you? We don't know. But if there were 1, 2, or 3 things that you would say somebody should know before they start, let's extrapolate this, not a Nerf venue business, but just a business in general, what do you think they should know?
They should know the hours they're going to have to put in. Like, you sacrifices, like, probably not going to make it to your friends' like weddings and stuff. Like, I've been to my sister's wedding. Even when I did that, I was like, I'm blocking off slots, and so, like you said, say goodbye to like a social life for the most part, depending on what your business is. But I would say, yeah, say goodbye to that. Are you willing to do that? Just a lot of it's just like financials, and like, I don't know. When I did it, I did very little research. People were like, oh, what were like kind of like, yeah, research did you do? Like anything. I was like, I just thought it was a good idea, and I thought people would like to do it. So, I mean, like, do research, but you're going to be the one that makes the decision in the end. I wouldn't be asking like all these people for advice, because honestly, when I did my business, I didn't tell anyone I was doing it. I didn't tell any of my friends. I didn't want any negative feedback or anyone telling me like, ooh, yeah, I didn't want to hear it. Like, so I did it. I didn't tell anyone I was doing it until like 3 months after I had the business. Groups coming in that I told my friends, I was like, hey, by the way, I have this business that I started, and I didn't tell most of you about it because I just didn't want to hear it. But yeah, as far as like advice, I would just research. I mean, it really comes down to rent and what you're feeling comfortable like charging people. And do you think it'll be busy right off the bat? It probably won't be. So you got to definitely
likely won't be.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the other thing I didn't like about open play was when people didn't show up. I'm like, this is like throwing a party that no one's coming for. Yeah, just be prepared. It's gonna be a struggle, but I mean, it's worth in the end if you like make it. Like, I mean, it's very rewarding. It feels good to like have all this and do what I do, but it's just know it's not.
Have you read a book called The E-Myth?
No.
The E-Myth is one of the best written books that I've ever randomly picked up. And well, I didn't pick it up. I listened to it on a road trip with my wife, and it was.
Okay. I was like, I don't read, so
yeah. You can get it on Audible. I think I got it on Audible, and yeah, it was very enlightening, and the narrator is the author, which I don't think happens that much. And okay. his demeanor is hilarious. It's kind of like I felt like I was getting talked to by my dad, and I think I needed it a little bit. It was good, and so it was pretty interesting. But the mindset there is basically what I'm going to explain is if you're looking to start your own Nerf business or a business in general, you should read this book. And the reason why is because I think that a lot of people get in the mindset when they see a business or they meet a small business owner, or they're not getting the one-on-one sort of experience that you're getting here, where we're swapping more stories and sharing just like the nitty-gritty of actually what it's like, what it is to do this, and how, you know, sometimes you just kind of like, you accidentally read an email at 11 p.m. and you go like, I should not have looked at that email, and then suddenly you just have to stay up all night and you can't turn it off.
My God.
Right. And you know, like, that's the stuff that you don't see that often. And so just understand that. But the other thing is, like, when the part of the impetus to get me to go all into this gym and to start the business and go all into it was that I remember just having a bad experience with a manager, and who basically is a boss. And I just fed myself this idea of like, I could be my own boss. And if I'm my own boss, then nobody can tell me what to do. And then life will be amazing. And that is what the book is about. And it's called the entrepreneurial myth, the E-myth, that when you are an entrepreneur, you don't have a boss. And that could not be further from the truth.
You have thousands of bosses. They're called your customers.
Right, yeah. And so the way that he explains it, he basically says that there are three personas of the business that need to exist. They need to exist, or your business will eventually die. You need the entrepreneur. Without the entrepreneur, you don't have a creative business. You don't have the creative direction for your business. You will eventually die. You need the technician, somebody that understands the work that the business is going to do to be able to create the systems and operations of actually doing the business. But then that third most important bit, you need the boss. You need somebody that is going to like manage the work and make sure the work gets done. The boss always exists. And just because you are now your own boss, congratulations. You are your own boss. You need to be that person that made you quit in the first place and start your business. And if you can't do that, your business will eventually fail and it won't last. And that was so enlightening to me, of like, oh, this is bad. And what ended up happening is, like, the reason why my wife and I are such a good team is because she, even though like nobody likes being the boss, right? Like, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be that person that everybody's like, yeah, I want to do the fun stuff. Like, I'm really good at doing the fun stuff. So good at doing the fun stuff. And my wife is so good at like putting her foot down and being like, are you kidding me? No, we can't do that. Like, use your head, you know, whatever. You're smarter than this. She's so good at doing that. And so it was like, it had this great dynamic, but that's not fulfilling to her. And I'm not being the best idea echelon of myself that I can be. And so learning how to create this wonderful balance between the three personas has been a learning experience. If you are not ready to do that, don't do it. Otherwise, what you're doing is just creating a money sink that will eventually die, and you'll have nothing to show for it. Do your research.
I would also, if I were to give advice, if you're going to do some kind of like a Nerf or activity, something business that has like physical, like customers that you have to entertain, if you don't have any customer service experience of any kind, or being around people or whatever, don't do it. You need to have some kind of customer service experience, because that is what keeps this business going, is customer service. That's why people keep coming back and all that. But
oh, definitely,
that'd be my advice. Customer service.
Absolutely.
But yeah, being a boss.
David Bolak is asking, how do you handle consumables? As in, like, darts? Is that? I assume that's what that question is asking. Consumables are hard. That's a time intensive question. Not time intensive question. It's just like it's a real challenge knowing when to buy ammunition, when to toss ammunition, and feel bad about tossing it. But it's like ultimately what we're doing is providing an experience, and if the product that you're using, which is Nerf darts or rival rounds, if they're creating a scenario that people aren't having a positive experience, then it's worth its value to kill it and start over and get a fresh new stock. You can't have a positive experience with bad darts. You can't have a Nerf war with all like soggy, gross darts. That's no fun for anybody. For us, we stock what people need and what works out well without breaking the bank. So over the years, we started off just by stocking regular darts, and I think that back in those days we would just stock like Koosh darts. Koosh darts were cheap. We could buy a lot of them, and it was easy to like go in waves and throw them out. When Rival came out, we did stock Rival, and we quickly were like, this is so expensive, and we attempted to figure out other avenues of stocking ammo, and we tried headshot ammo, and that ammo is terrible. And maybe they've changed since then. This is like a couple years ago, but I don't know. We buy the real deal stuff from Nerf, and the only reason why is because they just work. They last a really long time. I don't blink an eye at a 25-cent per round price anymore. 25 cents per dart? Like bamboo darts? No. I can't justify stocking them because they cost so much and they're gonna die so fast. So like we don't stock those. We do now stock short darts because we have enough people that are funding it. They come in, every single week they pay the ticket price, and a lot of them are using homemade blasters or Caliburns or Dart Zone Pros, and they want to use short darts, so we stock short darts now. We don't stock Vortex. We have only a few people in the arena that have ever used Vortex, and if they want to use Vortex, they can bring in Vortex and use them themselves. Yeah, we've got one player that does that on a very regular basis, and that works out pretty well. If you want to use Mega, you can bring in Mega. I'm not going to stock it though. It costs too much money, and not enough people use it. They don't use the platform to consistently keep it. Oh, my wife is saying, are the overhead lights on in the front? No, they're not. One moment.
Hey guys.
Let there be light. Jeez, she's keeping me honest. Look at that. Improving the quality of the stream. Yeah, every so often when we have, what's worked best for us is just kind of, when we collect darts at the end, we will sift out bad darts and we'll resupply them with new ones. That's worked out pretty well. I think it does eventually make sense to get in the mindset of new stock, and then a month or 2 months later, ditch it and start again. I think that there's something to be said about doing that. Scott JS is correcting me, saying bamboo darts are 12.5 cents per dart. That's still really expensive. That's so much more money. We get our Z-tip darts from, oh man, oh, it's been a while. It's not Light Take. NF Strike, that's it. We get our Z-tip darts from NF Strike for 2 cents each. How do you go wrong? It's incredible. Yeah. What do you stock, Connor?
It's always changing. My go-to, so I know it's different from what the community uses. I just use like what kind of like lasts the longest. I use like just like little Valentine darts I get on Amazon, but sometimes I'll go to Walmart and just get the is it the Dart Zone that come in the containers? Does those?
Oh, that's the Adventure Force.
Yeah, I'll do those sometimes. I'll do like little Valentine mega darts. But as far as like our like Z13 events that they put on here, everyone brings their own darts, but I provide all the rival rounds because we do a lot of them here. Our darts get like pretty chewed up pretty quick, and usually by the end of the day, like I wouldn't really recommend using our darts for like a competitive or what the community is using them for, because what we use is just like a lot of front loading blast where darts don't really jam up or anything. But we, depending on how busy you are for like our actual customers, I go through a lot of darts. I go through like, depends how busy we are, but usually like a couple thousand a month. But it's really not that big of an expense when you compare it to how many groups we have. So it's really not that bad.
I'm being corrected. Dart Zone makes the Adventure Force waffles, so
Okay.
they are the ones that stock those. Those are good. Those are really good darts. I was pretty impressed with them.
Yeah, I like those a lot. Those are like the two I'll get. I'll kind of go back and forth just so I know which ones are. This way I can like tell. Like when I'm swapping darts, I'm like, all right, so the Adventure Force or Dart Zone ones, I'm like, those were from 2 weeks ago. We can get rid of those and swap in the different darts.
Gyroscope to the rescue. He's helping me out just a little bit. This is kind of like statistics 101, being able to like change numbers to what you want. Technically, it's correct. Bamboo darts are 12.5 cents per dart. However, when I was doing that calculation, I think they've changed this recently, or they're going to change it. But when you buy a box of bamboo darts, you have to buy short darts with the full-length darts. And so many people don't use full-length darts. With that in mind, Gyroscope is saying, correction, DZP short-length darts are 25 cents. Aldous was right, because no one uses full lengths. So technically, you're paying full price and then ditching the other half, or you're cutting them down to make them work the right way. So 25 cents. I was correct. Let the record show. Connor, do you have any projects or plans for future things, either with like your own personal stuff in the hobby or with the business in general? Any ideas that you got in the works?
So right now, I'm going to be really pushing our VR, because those are smaller parties, and I feel like that will be an easy thing to like push when this whole thing is over with, as far as like smaller type parties. But it's really just going to be about getting some customers and putting some confidence in them. It's okay to come back and do some parties here. But as far as like changing things up, is like with how we run our parties, probably not. I've had some guys in the community say like, reach out to me, is like, oh, now you can have this time to like move stuff around the arena. I'm like, I'm not. It's fine how it is. But yeah, just kind of like going back, just jumping back into the VR and pushing just parties and stuff. But just been kind of like taking it easy after doing all those PPP applications and disaster loans and trying to stay alive there. But I have not had this opportunity to like relax and like figure, just like chill. Although I feel like the days are going really fast, which is kind of weird. The weeks are going fast for me, but yeah, just kind of just chilling.
I do share that experience. I feel like, wow, where did the time go? Which is just that is our life of just having. I feel like it hasn't stopped. The second we were told by our government, you're not allowed to function, it's like, well, okay, now what the hell do we do? And then scrambling and trying to figure out how do we manage that? And then in the process of managing that, doing that, and then because that idea isn't foolproof, now we have to come up with new ideas. And then on top of doing all of that, trying to plan for when this is all over and what's gonna, like, what'll that look like? Like, that's consuming a lot of time.
It's gonna be so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, those first like couple weeks were like super stressful. At first, it was like kind of just stressful. It's like got all my friends who are just throwing articles at me and like applications. I'm like, these have nothing to do with me. And then you get like everyone, just no one knew what was like going on. I'm talking like our accountant. I'm just like, what do I do? And they're like, we're just waiting. It was stressful there, but now kind of chill. But now I'm also now getting the mode where I'm like, all right, we're gonna be opening up soon, and we got to get in like game mode here because just have to, because reality is gonna hit soon, where it's like, all right, we're open. We need some groups in here, but
I've got a compatriot in chat, Brian Edwards, coming through Facebook. I didn't say this earlier, but we are streaming live through Facebook as well as YouTube. Brian is asking a hard question that I don't think we'll be able to answer, but I mean, feel free to pitch in if you want, Connor. He's saying, well, I mean, obviously, how are you dealing with this crazy time? Yeah, it's crazy. That's the whole stream. But I run Nerf battles in between my parkour classes. Yeah, good on you. But the gym is closed. How do you plan on getting people back in the gym and feel safe? I don't really have a formulated answer for you on that. It's something that is an active discussion and constantly evolving based on new information, which seems to come out daily, of just like, should gyms require masks? Do we not need masks? Because I have this weird hybrid of like, I've got the parkour gym, but I also do Nerf events, and you do too, and then Connor does only the Nerf events. But even if you only do Nerf events, that is a high touch exchange activity. People are picking up darts that somebody else picked up and, shot out, and then ultimately, like, we do stuff for kids, and kids are gross and do dumb things, and like pick their nose and then pick up a dart and like then throw it, or put it in their blaster and shoot it out. Now it's literally chemical warfare. So like, how do you manage that? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, I have on order like 500 of those buffs that have our logo on them. But yeah, when we start off, but also like this is gonna be opening up in like June and July, the hottest months of the year in this place. We don't have AC or anything like that.
Oh God.
But also like people like breathe hard without the masks on. Like I can just see people wearing them, and then like one game in just being like, oh. I'm like, what can I do about that? Like, it's gonna be so hot. Like,
right.
So I'm gonna say like, I mean, we have like one of those guns, not thermometer guns. What do you call those?
The temperature.
Yeah. So I'll say like my videos be like, we're gonna have this at the door. Also, that's gonna be weird, just like going up to guests and like putting that against their head. So I'm like, maybe I'll give that to like the mom of the party. Like, it's your job to do it to these kids. I don't know. It's just gonna be it's gonna be awkward in the beginning, but we're gonna provide gloves. I forget what kind of gloves, like disposable gloves. We'll have to do that at least for the first month or so, because I mean, yeah, like you said, everyone's sharing blasters. We don't have it where you rent your own blaster. Maybe we'll have it now where you have your one blaster, but if you're wearing gloves, it should be fine. But how we have it is like all the blasters are so like more blasters than people and sharing them and stuff. But
so I don't want to like highlight just on one thing, and this isn't a debate on that topic, but just as like the way that my mind works, you mentioned gloves and requiring gloves, and my brain goes to, well, somebody has to buy those gloves and stock those gloves and require that the gloves be used. But ultimately, like, what is a glove really doing if a kid wipes their nose with the glove and then touches a dart? So like, it's
gonna be a lot of also just like doing what we can do, but it's not gonna be perfect.
Well, right. So is that just for the optics?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
For sure. Yeah.
Cool. So, and then Brian is also asking, I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, we've always like cleaned glasses and like sanitized guns in between games, stuff like that. Like we wipe stuff down. Like we've always been like in that way. But you know, it's just never gonna be perfect though. But it's when we come back. I mean, a lot of it's just gonna be, yeah, this is a big like PR thing. Like I gotta show that, you know, we're going above and beyond. But like, who knows? Like, is this really making a difference? Like, I don't know. So I don't know. We're gonna do our best, but people, I mean. Yeah.
So Brian is also asking, I always supplied the blasters ammo and eye protection. Do you think that is a good option still?
That's a good question. We always provide that stuff. Glasses, I didn't think about that. Go through a lot of glasses then.
I know.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna say that with my understanding of like I typically don't do or make decisions based on optics. Whether or not that's a good thing, I don't know. And so my instinct is to say a glove does nothing, so I'm not going to stock gloves. And instead, I'm going to institute a policy of requiring that everybody wash their hands in our washroom before entering the facility. Like that's a policy that I can get behind, that I know is functional and works. And then maybe have policies where like if an employee or instructor or a moderator sees you like, I don't know, sneeze into your hand, like, they're going to stop you. If you're an adult or a kid, it doesn't matter, and probably make you go wash your hands. You're not allowed to like contaminate the facility. That's especially in what is. In order for us to function, we all need to agree to these rules. And if you don't agree to them, then I'm sorry, just like don't come. And that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It's the only way that we can operate. And so, yeah. But that's something that goes for me. And so with that mindset, it doesn't make sense for people to supply their own ammo. I think that it makes sense to have our facilities continue to supply ammo because ultimately it's getting shared anyway. So like whatever. And then it makes closing up afterward a lot easier, where people aren't like, you know, trying to hoard and figure out whose rounds were whose and everything else. Blasters might actually make a really good sense in order to cut down on the cleaning and whatnot, maybe requiring that people bring their own. I don't know. It's an idea. You can float it. If you don't mind cleaning, then great. If you just have a policy where you let people know, like, if you're done with this blaster, you need to put it over there. That way we know that nobody's going to touch it and nobody will touch it until it's been properly sterilized. That's a good idea. Eye protection, the same thing. I think that you should recommend that people bring their own so that there's not a ton of sharing, and you could even like provide a discount if people bring their own. I don't know, just ideas to monetize and put value to the experience of them bringing their own.
I think we would for gloves. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. I think we'll just have them there. There's going to be people there where we need gloves. Like I'm talking about like the moms who are half my customers. The emails I get are crazy. But I don't know. Right now, I'm just going to provide everything. But as far as like buffs and glasses, if that's a thing, like, I don't know. I'll definitely sell them. I'm not going to like let people just take them home.
Just back on the comment of taking people's temperature, I will say when this all went down, there was a person, I'm in a lot of different Facebook groups. One of them is for like parkour gym owners. And there was somebody that was chiming in talking about policies and procedures that they've done with their gym in Korea. And Korea has handled this whole crisis extremely well. And one of the, like, it was, I think it's different because this was like a government mandated thing that they had to do, but everybody that entered their gym literally got an inner ear thermometer test. And if you failed it, like, they called a medical team and like you went and got tested And if you tested positive, then you would go through their quarantine protocols. That's neither here or there on whether or not that works in America. But it was an interesting thing to hear that said, and then a month and a half later be like, they did a good job handling that. Maybe that's something that we should probably consider doing. And if people have a problem with it, like, I don't know if I care anymore. I think that's right. Something that I'm just gonna say, like, that might be something that people got to get over and just suck up and do if you want to participate. But Brian is chiming in. He's saying, we're requiring everyone to wash hands as soon as they enter the building, a temperature test, and hand sanitizer in between rounds. We were doing that right before we got shut down. Every round we would do a hand washing break or a sanitization break. And that, again, it's just like, it's trying to cut down on the amount of times mid round where somebody might, like scratch their nose or itch their eye. I don't know, the random stuff that people do to share bodily fluids. Let's not do it. Let's not do it. So yeah, absolutely. As I scratch my nose on camera right now. So yeah. There was some stuff going on in chat that I want to bring in, but I lost it. Gyroscope is saying, Aldos idea, aside from the obvious sterilization between matches, I would encourage users to bring their own masks and show their creativity in decorating or designing them.
Ooh, I like that.
That's a good idea. That's fun. I like that. Have like little contests. Fashion show. I dig it. That's fun. Yeah, mandatory hand sanitizer between rounds. I think that's gonna, and ultimately, like, I think that we did a really good job as an establishment. This is all credit to my wife. She's amazing, and she really takes pride in the spaces that she habitates, and she's the reason why the gym is as organized and clean as it is. Even though it's a bit like I come in here and then constantly just like, wow, this is amazing, and then sometimes she'll come in and even though I'll have a completely different experience walking and be like, this place looks cool, and Nicole's just like, this place is filthy, and she's created all the procedures and the policies to keep the place clean. But I think one thing that we should all do better at in order to learn from this whole experience, getting better at knowing that just because you don't feel sick doesn't mean that you're not a carrier for stuff and that somebody else might be impacted by that. And this is something that has been a conversation through the last couple decades with smoking. Like, smoking isn't like, it's such a challenging thing because it's a cultural thing that some people love to enjoy, but you can't stop the smoke from getting into other people's lungs. And so trying to manage it and do that, you can't stop the fact that we have a high touch activity. Everybody's going to be reaching down and touching these darts, but you can do better at not being a transmitter, understanding that just because you don't feel sick doesn't mean that somebody else who may or may not be immunocompromised, you don't know what people are walking around with. You don't know if somebody is going through a hardship in their life or is on a special medication and they're not showing outward symptoms. But if you were to accidentally give them the flu, it's not affecting you, but it's going to affect them. Like, I don't want to live that way. And if we can all get better at understanding those opportunities that we, I just wiped my nose and I'm in a high touch place, I'm going to go take a break real quick. I'm going to wash my hands. Like, doing that is something that society can do to help each other out. I would hope that that's something that continues past all of this. But I don't know. I think it would be nice. Let's see. We don't need to talk about the flu in comparison to this craziness. We're not getting that discussion. That's not what we're doing here, guys. That's not this. But yeah, absolutely. Make Test Battle is saying, we stopped safety glasses higher. People just don't take care of them and they get scratched. Better to have cheap ones for sale so they take care of them. Interesting. Huh. So the only
So you're saying you're not providing them, you're just selling.
yeah, so he's basically saying if you have the place to sell them, then people are buying them and they will take care of them more than they will the free stuff. We recently changed this and said that we used to charge a rental fee for the glasses, and we did that because we didn't have a lot of them and we wanted people to bring their own. And that was the incentive. You can save $2 by bringing your own eye protection. So many people just paid the money, and it eventually made it this thing where it's like the Nerf experience isn't $10, it's $12. And what I don't want to create is a system where we're charging people to be safe.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so it's like if safety is important, safety needs to be baked into the cost of participation. And so that's where we started. We didn't change the price, we just made it free. And I think there's still a lot of people that would rather bring their own eye protection and not use ours, but it's there for that one moment where they're like, ah, shoot, forgot it. And like, okay, cool, you know, it's fine, we've got some that you can have. I think having the option though of stocking nicer quality eye protection, because the stuff that we stock I think is from Harbor Freight, and it's not, you know, it does the job. It is what it is. It'll stop a dart, and that's great. You probably shouldn't use it with like machinery. That might not be the greatest thing. If like a piece of shrapnel goes at it, I don't know. I'm not gonna risk it. I'm not gonna use the tried and true stuff. But regardless, you know.
I think my game plan is going to be, we're going to provide them, sell them. If you don't want to use those ones, bring your own. I think that's what we'll do. If it was just selling them, I'd be going through like 900 a month. Like I don't even know where I'd get that many.
Damn Zombies 86 is saying trampoline parks make you buy their socks, sell the safety glasses, and require them. It's such a weird thing to me though.
Require you to buy their socks.
You the ones around here, Damn Zombies 86 is one of our players. In the Rochester area, all of the trampoline parks do require you to use their special rubber socks. They've even gone so far, because we've got two competing businesses here, they've even gone so far as to say that you can't bring in a competitor's socks.
Whoa.
Which, I don't know if they've changed that rule, but
that's wild.
Yeah, that was the I haven't gone back since.
That's the thing though. That's the customer service thing. There's no repeat customer.
Right, and yeah.
It's not run by a. It's someone that's like Kane. It's someone who just bought the place, and they're probably not even there. Like, I don't know. That's a customer service thing there.
Yeah. Make Chess Battle saying, we always encourage people to bring their own, but they didn't. We had free loaners, but they got scratched to unusable. Yeah, I think, and I think if that's the experience that you're having, definitely. I think that's a clever idea to stock them. I will also say this sort of goes into the whole one size doesn't fit all. There are not any universal policies that you can create, only because I know that Australia has socialized healthcare, and that has real ramifications on the liability side of operating business, where people run around and do an activity. For us as a parkour gym, it is constantly just like, it boggles my mind that our neighbors a couple hundred miles north of us across the lake in Toronto can have a 20,000 square foot facility and handle revenues that are 8 times larger than ours, yet they pay a quarter of the price in liability insurance. That's disgusting. It's disgusting. Insurance is one of the most expensive yearly costs for us, and every time we write that check, it's just kind of like, it's like soul sucking a little bit. And it's like, why does it need to be exact? But like, that's something where, because we exist in such a liability challenging environment, to charge for safety, it feels like you're just asking somebody to sue you. And so we choose not to. If you're in a different place where people don't just randomly sue to avoid bankruptcy with medical bills because a dart hit them in the eye and now they need to save their eye and their vision, then yeah, it's different. It's different. It's just a different experience. So what can you do? What can you do? So yeah, these are all a little, we're getting out there a little bit too much, and I'm going to bring it back in, especially because we're kind of coming up on the 2-hour mark, and I kind of want to drop things down a little bit. So with that said, let's wrap things up. Connor, I know that you're not running stuff immediately right now, obviously. However, when you do start up, how can people find you? And or actually, how can people support you right now if you are currently accepting support from the community?
So yeah, you can follow us on like Instagram or YouTube. Instagram is Facebook. I guess we got all of it, but Instagram, Detroit Dart Club, YouTube, Detroit Dart Club. As far as supporting, I'm working on the online store. I just got a big shipment of apparel, so if people want to check out the website, it'd be DetroitDartClub.com. But I'll also post on social media, stuff like that. The shop's not up yet, but when it is up, we'll be posting we'll be boosting that, and we'll be promoting the online store. So hopefully that'll be a way to bring in some extra cash. But yeah.
Do you sell merch?
That's what right now. What's that?
You sell merch?
Yeah, we sell T-shirts, crew necks, hoodies, and now buffs.
Do you ship?
So I just got a station and all the labels, and right now I gotta learn how to do them. But I have the apparel and the bags, and pretty much good to go. But I'll make an announcement. It's all live on social media and stuff like that.
Somebody is shocked at how many Instagram followers you have. How many? Wow, look at you.
6 years of posts. What that is.
Wow, rocking the 3,000 followers.
Like quickly or anything.
Can you monetize 3,000 followers?
What's that?
Can you monetize 3,000 followers aside from obviously just driving business to your establishment?
How so?
Like have anybody reached out to you to be like a product sponsor or anything else like that? An Instagram influencer?
Yeah, no, nothing like that. I think over 10,000 or something like that to happen. The micro influencer or whatever.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. My brother-in-law's company, they're over 20,000. They don't do anything like that yet. So I don't know. No, I don't. Not yet.
Very cool. Well, Connor, this has been fantastic. It's been great to have you on the show. I said this in private, but I'll say it on stream. It was really great of you to have me on your podcast. That was a really enjoyable experience. I feel like that was last year, but maybe it was earlier. I don't even know.
It could have been, yeah.
Could have been like 2 years ago. But
it could have been 2 years ago.
Yeah. So, people can keep up with you. You're still doing the podcast through this, right?
Yeah. So I haven't been on the podcast in a while, just because I was busy with groups and everything.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it's Detroit Dart Talk. You can find them on Instagram and for social media, but you can listen to them on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, all that. But that's just Detroit Dart Talk. That's with Tom, Tim, and Eric. But yeah, they usually, I don't know if I think they're all caught up on episodes. I don't know if they an episode last week, but they do a good job of posting weekly.
Very cool. Well, it's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being a part of this, Connor. And then everybody else that's in chat, thank you so much for being a part of this as well. Thank you for helping keep the conversation going, adding in your thoughts, your questions, your comments. As always, I greatly appreciate you. And I think this has been fun too. It's been fun doing different stuff. I'm planning on actually trying to figure out ways of doing this more, just because it's been kind of fun just having that extra little bit. I miss this. I miss out there, and I miss running around with a blaster and a camera on my head and having random pubs come in and be like, who the hell are you and what are you doing? But man, I miss it so much. But it has been fun being in front of the camera and being able to do stuff that we haven't been able to talk about before. It's been really cool. Thank you for joining and supporting all the way through it. And I'm excited to hopefully get back and running soon. That would be great. So with that said, Connor, thanks again so much. Chat, thank you everybody. And we will see you all next time. Bye.
Peace out, guys.
Aww.